Welcome to AI TV, everybody. We're broadcasting online and live from AI Expo Africa 2020. It's our virtual edition because of COVID. And so we're using Zoom to run our AI TV studio this year. And it gives us great pleasure to welcome Synthesis Software to the show. They're a sponsor and a speaker at the event. I just want to say thanks, guys, for your support this year. It's been a leap of faith for everyone, so we appreciate that. We've got Marais Neethling and Archana Arakkal, I hope I've pronounced that correctly, from the Synthesis Software team. They're headquartered in Joburg in South Africa, and they're an Amazon partner. So Marais, do you want to tell us a little bit about your company and what you do?
Right, thanks Nick, and thanks for having us on AI TV. Indeed, like you mentioned, we are actually the largest AWS partner in South Africa. So Synthesis started about 22 years ago. We primarily a software company. We're focusing on the financial sector and retail sector of the economy. So we have basically all the banks as our customers, and primarily helping the banks on their cloud journey, embracing cloud, etc. So we have a lot of AWS certifications in our company, the most in Africa, essentially, for one partner. We have a bunch of AWS accreditations for doing various types of workloads, moving workloads, doing DevOps, everything that comes with cloud. And obviously, one important aspect is data science and machine learning on the cloud, which, cloud is helping a lot with processing and doing processing and having your data on the cloud. And so we started the intelligent data team inside of Synthesis, which basically focuses on our data science and machine learning, and also data engineering competencies. I mean, we find a lot of demand for data engineering at our customers. So if you look at the whole machine learning lifecycle, kind of starts with the data engineering component, making sure you've got your data ready for machine learning and building the pipelines, and eventually you get to the end where you do machine learning. So maybe Archie has a lot of experience in all of these aspects, from data engineering to building models in the end. So maybe she can tell us a bit about that as well.
Yeah. Thanks, Marais, and thanks once again, Nick, for this platform. It's honestly always, I actually was at the AI Expo last year, and it seems just as big as before as well. So as much as it is virtual, I still think the essence is still there. So with regards to what Marais mentioned, and it's exactly right, but when we, at our clients, we realize that there's a huge demand for data engineering. And when we get into the cloud environment, data migration, moving data from one aspect to another aspect is always something that's on top of mind. And along with that, it's also the whole buzzword around AI. So where we come in is trying to help clients to actually understand what is buzz and what can actually tangibly be done. There's always a distinction between the two, and it's not always the same, right? So the reason why we are able to see that element quite nicely is because we've been on the journey. Cloud is also a buzzword at a point, right? So actually everything was on premise at some point in the financial sector, and we had to actually tangibly get someone into the cloud environment. And that's not just technical ability. There's also a lot of soft skills around that, ensuring that people feel supported enough to actually get into that next layer of tech. And it's the same for the whole machine learning lifecycle as well. Machine learning on its own, it's a small component, but there's so many different aspects around it. Comes to the DevOps, comes to the data engineering side of things. All of that needs to be well thought out and well put together before you can actually get into the real cool things, which is unfortunate for me, but it is what it is, and we actually have to do it that way.
Yeah, look, I mean,
have to do it that way.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I think for people that are new to the industry, I mean, I've been in the enterprise sector for over 20 years. Is really, you're about helping a client change processes. As you say, they're on-prem, now they're going to cloud. That cloud might not even be on their premises. It might be a hybrid, and then you've got the data considerations, you've got the maturity planning, the change management, the project management, everything else that goes with that. In the Amazon stack, I think they've got now, I think off the top of my head, is it 12 or 14 AI or machine learning services at the service level? Are you seeing any trends in where the enterprise is like starting out on that journey? I mean, considering the cloud and the data side of it are done, what's the sort of go-to, the top 3 or 4 things that the enterprise is sort of saying that they want to do with ML in the Amazon stack right now?
Yeah. So what I'm seeing, and Marais, you can add on to this from what you're seeing on your side, but I'm definitely seeing a huge in the NLP space. Everyone wants to use AWS Comprehend to try and figure out, because there's so much data. There's actually so much data, but no one really understands how can we actually make this. There's such large amounts of data, and we need to actually extract the real information from there. I actually had a conversation with one of my colleagues earlier today, and they were saying, you know, data on its own doesn't mean anything. It's useful data what we're after. So that's where whole NLP component is there, and AWS Comprehend is quite huge in that regard. I'm also finding a lot of image recognition, so AWS recognition. People tend to be using that a lot more these days as well. And I think what gives that comfort is that AWS has actually invested lots of data science into it, and lots of PhD and academics and all these guys from that space to actually build out something that's tangible. It's not perfect, but it's as perfect as we can get at the moment. So yeah, those are the 2 things that I'm seeing on my side. There isn't the fraud detection space, but people still tend to go with the customized approach.
Yeah, so I mean, one of the big services for Amazon or AWS is Lex and Alexa.
Yeah.
So chatbots clearly is a thing, but that's a very competed space. There's a lot of offerings out there, and they're competing with that. And I think the ones that'll win are also the ones that will be able to support sort of your native and local language, localized. So I think AWS is still a bit behind in sort of localizing it to all the markets. But I mean, it's working pretty well. And we've recently built a very large, let's call it deployment for GovChat, a service in South Africa.
Oh, Eldred and the team. I know Eldred, yeah.
That's right. You know Eldred, yeah. So we built that for them. And then there's actually a few nice new services that Amazon launched, let's call it managed AI services, that's getting a bit of traction. Archie mentioned the fraud detection, and then there's AWS Forecast. And these are services that they've built internally for their own use, and that they're now making available.
That's right. I was reading. I mean, literally, you can take the supply chain they're using, you can drop that supply chain into your own business. I mean, and if there's one company on the planet that's probably streamlined supply chain management and delivery, that probably Amazon. So if they're going to offer you that as a service, it's probably definitely worth looking at, I would have thought. I mean, just to wrap up, guys. I mean, you gave your talk. You've got your stand here, and that's going to be archived now for the next 30 days, and it's going to open up to thousands of more people to come and learn about what you do and the Amazon services that you offer. What are you seeing really as a challenge for young people to get involved with this space, data science, ML, in the African context? I mean, we know we have a skills challenge and skills shortages, but are you guys running any programs, any internships, or what sort of things, what would you recommend to someone young starting out on this journey who might aspire to want to work for Synthesis?
Yeah, great question. Actually, we do run internships, and we typically take in university students, so first, second, third year students, sort of during the December, January break when universities are not running. And we put together a few projects that might be interesting for them. A lot of those projects actually do focus on machine learning. It could be general software development as well, but we do then have some of the experts do some talks and introductions, etc., and break up the students into groups and to work and tackle projects. So
okay. Well, if
you want to get in contact, you can send a CV to talent@synthesis.co.za. And
so if you're a young person watching this, you've just heard it from that guy there. Archana, again, just to wrap up from your side, I mean, again, we also have a big focus on young female engineers getting into the space. Actually, the most popular talk on AI TV was from Amira Abbas last year, who went into quantum computing from working at ABSA. So it's quite an inspiring story. I mean, what would you say to a young female engineer? I mean, I'd say go for it. And the opportunities are there right now. You just need to knock on a door. What would you say to a young female engineer leaving university right now?
And it's exactly that. And what I'm finding more and more as I speak to young female engineers that are actually getting into the field is they're afraid. They're afraid that they're not good enough to get into the space, or the technical environment isn't for them. But that's not the case. The technical environment is very much for talent, not for gender at this point. So yeah, just go for it. Don't think that tech is only for male or female. It's actually for both. It's for talent. That's what it is at the end of the day.
Well, there we go. Let's end our interview on a very positive there. I know it's been a challenging year. COVID has caused chaos on a daily basis for everybody, but I think we've got a growing, inspiring story around the fourth industrial revolution in Africa. And it's companies like yours that are obviously recruiting the new talent and actually helping big customers do new things with these exciting technologies. So thanks for joining us on AI TV, guys. And good luck with the rest of the show. And thanks for making a contribution. We really appreciate it.